All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Marketing Mondays. I know it's been some time. I've been really wanting to record more episodes for you guys and share a lot more value, a lot more content. I have so many different ideas, so many different, podcast series. I want to do different deep dives, for you guys so you guys can really understand, what marketing is, what advertising is, the importance of it, why it's vital, especially in today's, social media age, digital age, and now with the AI revolution taking place. I want to just go ahead and just share with you guys so much more, not just information, but value, takeaways, things that can be practical for you guys to be able to use and implement into your businesses. So I have so much to share. I have so many things to kind of go over with you guys and kind of let you guys, see behind the scenes, everything that we're working here at Soaring High Marketing. Again, we're marketing solutions. We're providing solutions for business owners, for business practices, for business owners that are looking to grow, scale, and be able to build their business the right way. We have so many things here at our disposal to be able to implement into your business. So definitely want to encourage you guys to go ahead and schedule a strategy session with me so we can take a deep dive into your business to see exactly where you're at, where you're positioned, what are your goals, what are you guys looking to achieve, what are you guys striving for, what are you guys having problems with, and kind of take a deep dive into your business, which sometimes is painful because we've been ignoring it, we've been putting marketing and advertising on the back burner, because we've done it, we tried it, been there, done that, so many different excuses that we make for not marketing, for not advertising. And that's kind of what this podcast episode is going to be about is, we're here already in June. I actually wanted to record this a couple weeks back, during, what was it, like Memorial Day weekend. I wanted to go ahead and shoot it, but obviously got tied up, so many different things happening. So wasn't able to get it done for you guys, but we're halfway already through the year. June's already here. June's already come and gone. Half the year. We're 6 months into it. We all start off the year with having, vision boards and our writing down our goals for the year, things you want to achieve, numbers you want to hit, whether you have goals, for your business, professionally, financially, physically, spiritually, whatever your goals are, I kind of want to take this episode to kind of do a check-in, a half year business check-in. Just ask, are you actually on track for your goals? Because we're halfway through the year. So let me ask you, are you guys on pace? Are you guys ahead of schedule? Or are you guys behind schedule? Because if we're depending on where we're at, we kind of have to see like if we're on pace, okay, how do we keep it steady? How do we keep it going from what it is that we're doing? If we're ahead of schedule, then okay, what's working? What's what are we leveraging? How can we create systems around what's working to really put more fuel to the fire and really, kick it up on turbo and kick it up a notch? Because if we're already ahead of the game, let's keep being ahead. Let's see how far ahead can we get to this year. Because if you're already outpacing last year's numbers, last year's revenue, then something you implemented this year is working. So congratulations to you. And if you guys have found that, you know, magic touch, that secret sauce, whatever it is that you're doing, then we gotta, pull more fuel to the throttle, gotta, ramp it up even more because we want to see exactly if we're ahead, how much more ahead can we get, and how much more ahead can we end the year, especially as we're going now here to the summertime where, things drop off, things slow down, and then we try to pick it back up for the fall and for the winter to end the year. But as you know, towards the end of the year, then we have all the different holidays. We got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So we kind of, take a seat back, kind of, kind of go through that little cruise mode that we try to, cruise control. So we kind of have to see, exactly how can we keep being ahead of pace. But if you guys are behind schedule, then okay, then we have a lot. How much ground do we got to, do we have to make up on? How do we try to close in that gap? How do we try to, catch up. So at least we can be on pace for last year's numbers and try to exceed it the best that we can with the time that we have left. Because, we're already at the midpoint of the year. Graduations have come. Summertime is here. We're going on summer vacation. People want to take time off. We all say, oh no, right now is not a good time. People are not looking for my services or my products right now. And again, just different excuses that we tell ourselves for not marketing, for not advertising, for not getting visibility, for not getting in front of our ideal audience that we're trying to get more as patients, as customers, as clients for our businesses. So it's easy to start the year, you know, motivated and encouraged, and this is gonna be my best year ever. And like I said, we have our vision boards that we put up that, this is gonna be what we want to strive for, is what we're gonna achieve. We all have the big targets, the big goals. We want to try to hit seven figures. We want to do multiple seven figures. We want to take our business, from, let's say, you're making 300K a year. How do we get to $1 million a year? Then from 1 million, how do we double that? How do we triple that? How do we get from 1 to 3 to 5 to 8 to 15 to 25 million? How do we scale this company, our business, into $100 million company and corporation and conglomerate? So we have all these different goals that we set for ourselves to start the year, but how good or how well are you actually keeping track of it and measuring it, month to month, week to week, and even be day to day? Because we all have a big target, we have a big goal that we want to achieve, and most of the time we write it, at the end of December, maybe that first week of January, as we're spending time with our family and going through the whole holiday season and New Year's and all of that. So we have these big goals that we set for ourselves, but are we checking in on them on a monthly basis, or do we just wait until the end of the year to kind of see exactly how close do we come to it? Do we actually hit the mark? Are we actually keeping active inventory to see if we're on pace, if we're ahead, or if we're behind on schedule? Because goals without tracking become wishes. If you're not tracking, if you're not measuring, because once you track and you measure, then you can optimize, you can change the strategy, you can change what's working, you can make things better, you can improve on certain things. You can optimize what is working, you can eliminate things that aren't. So you have data to use. When you track and you measure, you have data that you can use, and the data are numbers. The numbers tell a story, and the numbers tell you exactly where you're at and where you want to get to. So if you have that in place, then it's going to be much more easier for you guys to be able to actually hit those goals that you guys want to hit in your businesses. So, the main thing is that we got to keep the target, we got to keep the goal in front of us. We got to put it ahead of us and keep an eye on the prize. Keep every time we kind of get down, we lose a deal, we lose a client, we get a bad review, or we got a bad customer service, or whatever the situation may be. One of the biggest lessons in business is that you always have to keep the target before you, because the target is what's going to drive the activity, is going to drive the movement, is going to drive everything forward, because it's the thing that we're after, we're chasing. They say you gotta attract things and not, chase things, but you guys know what I mean, is that we gotta keep it ahead of us so we know what we're striving for, what we're trying to aim at, what are we trying to accomplish, what numbers are we trying to hit. Obviously, we're trying to level up, hit new levels, hit new rankings, hit, new atmosphere in our businesses. So the question is, are we on track? Are we measuring? Are we writing things down? Are we actually taking active inventory? Because you got to write the vision and you got to make it plain. Write the vision, make it plain, so whoever reads it and hears it, will run from it. As you run towards it, they're going to say, oh my gosh, you have so great vision, such great passion. How are you going to ever achieve this? And the thing is that we're always striving to get better, always trying to do more, trying to do better. Because if you lose sight of the target, that's when you start to drift, you start to get complacent, you start to lower your targets, and you say, you know what, maybe I was just thinking too much. I was just being too eager. I was being too, too motivated. I was having these grandoso, ideas that I should kind of maybe, come down and be humble. Maybe I was being too arrogant, too prideful that I can actually attain these things. And we settle, we compromise, and then we lower the target, and then we feel bad because, we didn't strive really to aim at for the thing that we really wanted. So that's the thing we have to keep in mind, keep it plain, write it down, keep writing it down. When you wake up, write down the goal. When you go to sleep, write down the goal. Write down exactly what you accomplished that day in order to get you closer to that goal. So, you got to see what was your revenue target for this year. How many new clients did you want to take on? How many more deals did you want to close? How much real growth did you want to have into your business? Because you have to see and ask yourself, what is your business actually on pace for? Where are we at? Are we doing better? Are we staying the same? And if we stay the same, we're actually going down because it's not going to be, we didn't stay in it to be in the same place. We always want to be growing and hitting a new place, a new level, getting new victories. Or are we falling behind? If we're falling behind, then okay, we've got a lot of ground to catch up in the next 6 months that we have, which is opportunity. Okay, we're lessons, the things we did, but now the next 6 months is going to be the activity is going to be what we're aiming for. Because in the end, you can't improve what you don't measure. Whatever you're not willing to confront and measure, you can't improve it and you can't optimize it. So you can't improve what you don't measure. So if you don't know what your numbers are, one of the main things businesses struggle and they fail with hitting their goals is because they're not keeping track of their numbers. They're not keeping track of where they're at, what are they actually doing to get closer to the goal, to move the ball down the field, because it comes down to business is math. A lot of business owners operate emotionally, just out of wishful thinking, of positivity, but growth is math. It just comes down to numbers. Numbers tell the story. For example, you have to know what your average ticket is. What is one client worth to you? Because once you have that number, okay, then we can then use math to reverse engineer the goal, to reverse engineer the target. And if you know one client that you acquire, if you know the lifetime value of that client, then you're able to then be able to outspend your competitors. You're going to be willing to, okay, I can spend more to acquire a new customer because I know my numbers. I know one new client into my business is worth X, so I can afford to invest Y because if I can, I know whatever, if I put $1 in, I know I'm getting $3, $5, $10 back. So of course I can be put in a situation that I can outspend my competitors because I know my numbers. I know exactly how to drive revenue. I know how to get attention, be seen, get found online, and then I know how to then convert that and monetize it. So I'm willing to go into the marketplace and outspend my competitors. And if you're currently not spending, if you're currently not advertising, you're not marketing your business, then you can correlate, okay, my do I need to ramp up my marketing and my advertising? So then I start getting more leads because the leads is gonna get the conversations, is gonna get the opportunities in the door. From there, then we have a sales process and a follow-up system so that we can convert that attention and those leads into actual clients and actual customers for businesses. So we got to increase the lead volume. You need to get more leads because you need more opportunities. You need more at-bats in order to close more deals. So if you're behind, okay, maybe we got to ramp up the marketing. If we're not doing any marketing, then we got to start marketing. We got to start building an online presence. We got to start, being found where people are searching, now with search engines, with AI search. Um, we got to be creating more content. We got to be being seen online. We got to be giving value, giving out information. We got to be running ads to get people into the top of the funnel. For example, if your average client is worth $2,000 and your target is $1 million, then okay, and then we know we need to get 500 clients paying us $2,000 in order to hit that $1 million mark. This is whether you want to hit that first million or if you want to make multiple millions or your next million in your business, then you got to just run the numbers, do the math, and you're going to be able to reverse engineer the goal. Because then you know, okay, if we need 500 clients, how many clients have we had so far in these last 6 months? You know, if we can double, if we're at 250, we double it up. Hopefully, for the next 6 months, then we can hit the target of 500 clients. It can be 500 new clients you can to aim at, maybe 500 between new and past clients that we're able to reactivate, that we're able to remarket to. We can, or maybe a combination of even old leads that we have in our CRM or in a database. We can, use marketing and advertising to reactivate them, to retain more of our clients that we currently do have. How do we get them to, purchase more of our services? How can we get them to ascend to a higher package? So there's so many different ways that we can play the game. We need to understand the numbers. Okay, how many total clients do we need? What is our average ticket number? And how many deals do we need? How many patients? How many clients do we need? But again, the lead is just one aspect of the puzzle. Once we need, okay, we got to increase more leads. But then from there is okay, if you're, a med spa, if you're a dental practice, we gotta do a consultation first, So how many people that actually book an appointment actually come for their appointment, where they be giving them a consultation, giving a free exam, was understanding, where they are with what they're looking to accomplish. So that's kind of what I call like your show up rate, a showing rate. When you go get a lead in, okay, and then if I'm a roofer, I'm a contractor, if I'm an HVAC, company, okay, I have a lead, they booked an appointment, and then you call to confirm the appointment. How many of those active appointments are you actually going on a weekly, on a monthly basis? Because that's going to be like your show up rate is what I term it. Okay, how many people are actually from what we get them into the lead? How many do we actually get? To give them a consultation, give them an estimate, actually walk them through the process and what is going to be to solve their problem. Because then from there, then we have what I call is that's gonna be your closing ratio or your closing rate or your conversion rate. Okay, we got to get leads, we got them to show up, and then we got to close them. Because once you close them, then that's how you actually monetize, and that's how you convert the attention and the leads into an actual patient or client for your business. So the main thing is that, if we know our numbers, we're tracking each one, because then we got to just play with the numbers and then be able to kind of tweak it. For example, if you're a med spa owner and your average package, let's say for body contouring treatment is $2,000, we know, okay, we got to hit at least 42 new patients per month if we were trying to hit that $1 million mark. But okay, now we got to factor in our show up rate is only 70% of the leads that we generate. 70% of the leads that actually book an appointment actually show up to their appointment for us to give them a consultation, give them, a briefing, give them, an exam or whatever the process is to kind of really understand what are their goals, what are they looking to accomplish, why are they needing the service, and then from there, then we can say, okay, what is our closing ratio? And then that's how we can say, okay, look, if we have X amount of leads coming in and X amount are actually showing up for the appointment and we're closing X amount, then we just gotta just reverse engineer the process to see exactly where are we. Do we need to get more consultations? Do we need to get more leads? Do we got to work more on our visibility? Do we need to work on the sales process and maybe overcoming objections or handling, any rebuttals that they have? So we can then start identifying, okay, where are exactly is revenue leaking in the business? Is it in generating more leads? Is it getting them to actually commit and show up for the appointment? Or is it maybe in our sales process? Is it in the way that we're presenting the solution? Is it, our prices? Even though I always say price is a myth, but we see exactly where is it that we're actually losing out. Because most businesses, they don't need hope. What they need is more opportunities. And an example, let's say if you're roofing, contractor, let's say your average job is 15K to maybe 20K per month. Okay, and then let's run the numbers and say, okay, if we're trying to hit our goal, our target in this example, let's say it's $1 million, our average ticket, let's say it's 20,000, then okay, we gotta ask ourselves, okay, how many estimates, how many leads do we need? How many estimates do we have to give out? How many book jobs do we need to get? How many calls do we need coming in? Because then we can just start reverse engineering the process of getting the leads and what our actual numbers are from leads to actual clients into our pipeline. If you're a dental practice, you want to get more leads for consultations, for Invisalign, maybe for braces, for implants, for different, dental procedures. Oh, good afternoon, Noel. Yeah, we do marketing advertising for local businesses. What business do you have? Oh, okay, yes, yes, I recall. Yeah, I think I had. Yeah, we still can. I mean, obviously, yeah, we're always looking for new opportunities, to partner and work together. So, um, I don't know, maybe you want to jump on a call sometime later this week so we can dive in more in detail regarding it. Yeah, what will be a good time for you? Just right now, yeah, I'm heading here to a meeting. Okay, mornings after 10. Okay. Um, okay, cool. Yeah, let me see if I can maybe squeeze you in. Let's see here. Um, Wednesday I could probably do 11:30. If not Thursday on Wednesday, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, then just text me your name and your email, and then I'll go ahead and send you an invite for us to hop on a call on Wednesday at 11:30. Perfect. Your name again is? Joy. Okay, Joy. I'm Noel. You too. All the best. Talk to you on Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you for calling. To be connected to a live agent, please press 1 now.
Do a whole bunch of videos. I've been watching a lot of I got your videos on my lower screen right now. Really? Yeah.
She's hot though.
¿Y qué opina de un hombre después de los 40?
Un hombre después de los 40, 50 años es como un vino carísimo, costosísimo, de muy buena cosecha. Y a veces decimos, pero ¿por qué estás soltero? Ay, mi amor, lo que pasa es que hay muchísimas mujeres que tienen el paladar acostumbrado a licores baratos.
¿Y qué tú opinas de un hombre después de los 40?
Un hombre después de los 40, 50 años.
Yeah, so you're able to kind of see exactly where you're at, what do you need more of? Do you need more leads? Do we need more consultations? How do we get more clients? How do we get more patients into the door? So again, it just comes down to the numbers. It comes down to math because growth gets simpler when you understand your numbers. I know I'm throwing a lot here at you. We can definitely schedule a strategy call so we can actually dive deeper into these numbers and what I'm talking about for your specific business, for your specific, industry that you work in. So you kind of just have to see, okay, exactly what is the target? What are my goals? And then exactly how can I reach it? Is not hoping, is not, hoping that referrals come in or hoping people find me online somehow, or let me just sit back and okay, I'm gonna hope and pray, see what changes. No, like you have to take an initiative, you gotta be active, and you gotta say, okay, look, this is the goal we have. Okay, and then how do we get there? When you reverse engineer it with your numbers, then we know, okay, exactly how many leads do we need per month, how many consultations, how many appointments, how many do we need to close? So, then we can work on different systems, different processes from our sales, process or sales cycle, from retention marketing, from, retargeting, from getting more leads to convert to book, whether it's actually closing more. So we got to structure our pricings or create new offers that actually are able to convert into new patients or new customers or new clients for our business. So there's so many different ways, and people say, okay, what can you do for me in marketing? Is okay, we have to take a deep dive. We have to do a diagnostic on your business to see exactly what's performing, what's not, where are the missing, where are the leaks in the business, all these different things that sometimes we don't take into account. Yeah, we just want to market and get a bunch of leads and have a bunch of people come in. But if you don't have processes, if you don't have a system in place to handle the calls, handle the volume, handle the activity that's coming in, then that's when leads, fall through the cracks. We miss opportunities. We don't follow up. We don't have a true sales cycle or sales process to actually get from leads to actual book appointments to actually close client. So there's so many different moving parts that we want to take a look at into your business to say to pinpoint where is it? Do you need more marketing, more advertising to get more leads? Do we got to create new offers? Do we have to create new sales process? Do we have to create follow up systems? Do we need to retain more of the clients that we already have in our CRM in our database? Do we need to reactivate them with promotions, with retargeting? How do we get them to ascend to other bigger packages or other services that we offer? So many different moving parts, so we just try to factor in and see exactly where are you? What are your goals? What are your targets? And then, what's the budget? What's the investment capability within the business to actually create that growth? Because we all want growth, but we want it overnight. We don't want to have to invest into it. And because we invested it before and we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't partner or align with the right marketing agency or the right growth partner, because we're not just an agency, we're more of a strategic growth partner for your business. Because I'm hitting on so many different things that kind of goes beyond just doing marketing services, just building you a website or running ads for you. No, it's a much bigger picture that we have set in mind, for the clients that we work with, because again, it's so many different moving parts, so many different variables, so many different factors that we have to see the overall health of a business. That's why we do the strategy session. We do a discovery call. We really do a deep dive into your business to really understand where you're at, how you position, what are the goals, you know, and then we can kind of diagnose from there and reverse engineer the process for you as well. So, you know, and now I'm talking about this year in review episode, now that we're in June, we have to get honest with ourselves and kind of analyze and see, okay, what's currently working? What's actually producing leads for us? What's actually getting the phone ringing? What's actually, producing revenue for the business? And what are some time wasters? What are some stuff that we are doing that isn't bringing the ROI that we're looking for or that we need right now for the business, especially if we're behind, if we're still on track, because even if you're on track for the same, you're basically losing out because with inflation, whatever you made last year is going to be less than it's worth this year. So once we see what's working, then okay, what should we double down on? Becomes sometimes growth isn't adding more. Sometimes it's just focusing harder on what's already working. Because then that's when we try to go too wide and too thin rather than picking one or two channels and going all in, going deeper on. If Google ads are producing calls, then we got to scale the ads. We got to produce more ads. We got to probably invest more into the Google ad budget. Is our content performing, and we're getting a lot of inbound leads? And okay, then the idea is, okay, let's post more. Let's change the variety of content. Let's change, the messaging or the call to action in our content. But if our content is currently producing, then let's put more fuel to the fire and let's produce more content. Are we getting more referrals right now? We have good strategic referral partners, not just getting referrals from our clients, but having strategic referral partners, in our industries, people that we can, share information with, share leads, because, for example, if you're a roofing contractor, since you're already there in the home, you're doing work on the roof. Okay, but maybe the AC broke down. Maybe, they got a clogged toilet. Maybe they need somebody to clean the pool or cut the grass. And then you have other opportunities there, work with a HVAC company, work with a plumber, a landscaper, different contractor. So you got to see, okay, and then how can I align myself with other referral partners that are within my same industry per se, because all home services, how do I align myself with them? So if you want to focus more on the referrals, referral marketing, then okay, we got to create strategic referral partners for the business. So you got to be able to scale what works and then eliminate what distracts. If you're scaling what works, then we know it's going to increase to more results, better results. We can tweak it, we can optimize it. How do we maximize it? And then how do we optimize it? So we got to look into that. So we know once we see what's working, and if you don't know what's working, if you're not keeping track of it, every time, a call comes in, you got to ask, hey, how did you hear about us? How did you find us? How did you hear about us? Who referred you? Because then you can identify who's one of your top clients that's referring you a lot of business, because you can have that one stellar client that is just giving you a bunch of referrals, or it can even be an old lead that maybe you didn't actually close on, but they say, you know what, I know this person, and they're actually giving you a lot of referrals without actually even being your own client. So then when you see that opportunity, for this example, the old lead, they become a client, but because they know your service, they know what you do, then they just start referring you because they start recommending you. They come in contact with people that, need what it is that you do. Maybe it wasn't a fit for them at that time, or maybe they couldn't afford it, or whatever the case is that they didn't convert into an actual client. Those people leads can actually be the ones that can refer you because now they know about you, they've heard about you. Maybe they've gone through the consultation, maybe they've gone through a call with you, they've gotten more information. So now they're kind of like an open book to kind of refer you without actually being a client. So then you can identify that and then use that situation to then contact them back and say, hey, thank you so much. You can do follow up. You can contact them back and say, hey, look, Susie was referred, came to us. They actually mentioned you, that they were referred by you, XYZ. And then from there, you can even maybe try to offer them a new special offer, a promotion, not as much a discount, but I would kind of maybe more align it as like a special value or like a special offer for them for referring you business. Whether in the back end, whether it is a discount per se, but I wouldn't present it or position it as a discount, simply as a discount, but more as a thank you offer, appreciation offer. Thank you so much for referring us. So we're going to give you, you know, what we maybe spoke about months ago, weeks ago, and we kind of repackage it into something for them. Even reaching out and giving them a gift card, giving them, a gift card, or whether it be a Starbucks or to another local restaurant, then you can start partnering with local businesses in your area. So then you start sending them business, and then they can send you business back. So again, there's so many different ways to market and advertise that it doesn't have to be the traditional way, doesn't have to be the traditional route. I'm here giving you the ideas. You got to take it and run with it and make what you can with it. And like I said, we can do a strategy call. We can brainstorm. We can come up with different solutions for your business. So the idea is that, we got to sometimes think outside the box. Right now, we can't spend on marketing and advertising. Then it means that we got to go out there and talk to more people. We got to create more opportunities, create more conversations. We got to knock on doors. If you, like I said in earlier podcast, is either you have time or you have money. If you don't have time, I mean, if you don't have money to invest into marketing and advertising, then you got to be using your time to prospect, to knock on doors, to cold call, to send handwritten letters, to go to networking events, to try to, find referral partners. You got to contact your old clients, send them emails, text messages, DMs. There's a lot of work that you can do. And if, hey man, hey Noah, there's too much work for me, then welcome to business. If not, then you got to hire somebody to do this work for you, or you can partner with us. We can do some of that legwork. Maybe our AI assistant can take over those duties for you with sending, dropping voicemails, sending automated emails and text messages on your behalf. We can set it up so it gets sent out to your list of contacts that you have or your database. So again, you just got to think of different ways. Okay, how can we leverage our time to prospect, to do outreach, to outbound? And then once we start generating income from that and revenue from that, then we reinvest it into inbound marketing, into marketing and advertising campaigns that gets the phone ringing and have calls and pre-qualified leads coming to us directly. So again, one feeds the other. Outbound feeds inbound, inbound. And if outbound is working for you, if you're roofing and door knocking or selling solar, door knocking, local flyer distribution, door hangers, are still old school tactics, but they still work. They still get the job done, especially once you start canvassing or targeting the surrounding area as well. So again, there's just so many different levels to this marketing game. So it just depends on how committed are you to that target, to that goal, to actually make your dreams and your goals a reality. I'm here just sharing so much with you. So I'm just trying to hit you from all different angles, all different sides to wake you up, shake you up, and get you investing into your business for growth. And I and my team, we want to be your marketing, growth partners to help you reach those goals and reach those levels that you're trying to get to. So I kind of went on a tangent there, but again, if you're tracking what's working, if you're tracking what's working, then obviously you know what you can double down on, what you can eliminate, what can you invest more in. And if you're not tracking, you don't know what's working for you, then by God's grace, you made it this far in the year, and there's so much more of the year left to get through. But okay, maybe you got to start tracking these numbers now. Maybe you got to start tracking where the call's coming from, who's referring you, why they were referring you. You can then use that as content, as marketing pieces to use um, to be able to go into the marketplace and get more clients, more client acquisition. So again, if you're not writing down your numbers, you're not keeping track, then now this point of the year will be a good place if you want to try to go backlog and see, from January to June. All right, you can go ahead and do so. But if not, then hey, look, just start now. This week in June, let's start now to the end of the year and start tracking these different numbers, metrics, stats on your business, so you know exactly, are you getting enough at bats? Because one of the biggest reasons businesses fail is that they don't have enough opportunities. They don't get enough at bats to come up to the plate and try to, you know, get men on base, hit a home run, score runs. It doesn't matter if you're hitting singles, if you're getting walks, if you're getting doubles, if you're hitting just home runs. The idea is you got to score more than your opponent. You got to score more than your, competition in your marketplace. So you need more at bats. More at bats is simply getting more opportunities. Are you not getting enough leads? Are you not getting enough conversations? Are you not getting enough consultations? Are you not doing enough outreach? Are you not getting enough visibility? So you need enough at bats to actually win and hit your targets and hit the numbers that you want to hit. Because business, like marketing, like sales, it's all a numbers game. So you got to ask yourself and be honest with yourself: are you visible enough online? Are you visible enough in your marketplace? Are you marketing enough? Are you advertising enough? Are you doing enough to actually get to the goals that you set for yourself to start the year? Because then you can pivot, we can re-strategize, we can pivot, we can make changes. So then maybe we don't get to the full goal by the end of the year, but at least a year from now, we can be in a much better place than we are right now. Because again, if you're not getting enough leads, you're not getting enough opportunities, you're not getting enough at bats, if nobody sees you, nobody can buy from you. So you have to be able to, okay, know your numbers, know what's working, because then you can see if you're getting enough opportunities to even come close to hitting those numbers. For example, the example I gave earlier about, you know, you're trying to hit $1 million in revenue, whether it be new million or hit $1 million, your average ticket, a client's worth $2,000, a deal's worth to you is $2,000. So we know we need 500 clients, just an example. Sometimes, we may say that's a lot of clients. So again, so do you need more clients or do you need better clients? Do you need to maybe raise your ticket price from being from 2,000? Do we got to strive now to maybe do 2,500, 3,500, $5,000? So then we start getting less clients, but now we're getting better quality because now they're paying more. They're paying more for our services. Now our margins and our business is increasing. Now we've got more room to play with, to hire, to train, to market, to advertise. Again, it's all numbers. You just got to play with it. Okay, maybe 500 leads is too much. Okay, so let's bring it down, but let's increase our prices. Let's increase the margins. So again, you've got to know your numbers. What is the target? And let's reverse engineer it. And then we see exactly what more do we need of. So, you need to know, you need to track, you need to measure. So then that way we can optimize and then we can always have strategy in place, as I talked in previous episodes. So again, we're here in June. We're halfway through the year. Again, the AI revolution, the talk of the town is the AI revolution. AI, the talk of the year. Now they're starting to promote, they're starting to advertise. Now they're trying to push it down your throat now, be all in your face now with AI. So whether you like it or not, whether you're implementing or adapting or not, AI is changing how business is being done. And we're at the early stages, so we may not feel it right now since it's at its infancy. Of course, yeah, AI has been around and people already have adopted more of it than others. Again, it's slowly creeping in and it's slowly adapting. So, it's here. We can't deny it. We can't ignore it, and we cannot be overwhelmed by it either. So you gotta ask yourself, okay, apart from marketing and advertising, then we have the elephant in the room, which is now AI, which AI can kind of help you with some of these things. But again, it's not the full solution because you still need a strategy, you still need systems. AI isn't going to blow up your business, especially if you have no online presence, you don't have a website, you don't run any ads, you don't have any data, you don't have any follow-up systems, you don't have a sales process. You can try to do AI, but if you don't have all these other components that empowers AI, because then again, as I mentioned, your numbers, your stats, your metrics, if you use all that data and you give it to AI, then AI can amplify it and just, put it on steroids to really give you a defined plan, strategy, and actually how to be able to execute on it. So AI is here. There's a talk of the town. I call it the AI revolution is here. So you ask yourself, are you using AI yet? Are you implementing it into your business? Help you with operations, help you with content, with marketing, streamline operations, workflows, help train your staff, your members, your team members. So many different practical uses for it that we can actually integrate now into the business. So, are you overwhelmed by it? Are you learning too much of it? And I'll have the other components that I mentioned to be able to really leverage it to the best its ability. So AI is here. It's here now. I'm gonna do future podcast episodes about it as well. But again, businesses that are using AI, they're using it for customer service, for automation, for follow-up, for content, for operations, for marketing. Right now we're installing our AI receptionist and AI assistant into MedSpa practices. That way it can take calls are not being missed, leads are not being lost because the AI receptionist is taking those inbound calls coming into the practice, for home service contractors, roofers. If you're out on the roof, our AI assistant and receptionist can answer calls for you while you're on job sites, where you're giving us estimates, where you're actually doing the work of, or whatever it is that you do. For dental clients that we have, it's great for after hours responding, to leads that are coming in through, ads and marketing efforts, being able to take calls on the weekends when most of these dental practices are closed, after hours, weekends, holidays, the AI is working on their behalf to still collect information, schedule appointments, send out reminders, and be able to nurture the leads that we're generating for them. So businesses using AI is going to outperform businesses ignoring it. So we have to start adopting it. But again, if you don't have the other components, if your revenue, you're not hitting your revenue targets, if you're below $1 million right now in business and revenue, AI isn't going to change your business. AI isn't going to get you to that seven-figure mark because you have so many different gaps, so many different revenue leaks in the business to even really be sweating AI right now because you're going to be, again, trying to drive a sports car, when you're 10 years old, you don't even have your license, you don't know how to drive, you haven't tested that type of machine, you haven't driven with it yet. So again, it's not going to be to your best advantage at that point, depending on what stage of your business you're at right now. So you've got to analyze, we're halfway through the year, what's working, what's not. Let's talk about your visibility. Let's talk about your marketing. You know, have you made any updates now with AI to your website? Are you posting content? Are you doing any type of SEO and now AI search SEO? How are your numbers? How many leads are you getting per month? How many calls are coming into the practice? Are you getting more traffic to your website? Are you getting more engagement on your social media posts? Are you running ads? And if you're running ads, how much, what is that translating to? Like how much of the marketing advertising that you currently are doing, how much is it really filling up your funnel, filling up the pipeline? Because when the pipeline is empty, the business feels heavy because marketing is the engine, the growth engine that creates opportunities, it creates awareness, it creates attention, and it helps to build up your pipeline because you're getting leads and attention into your funnel. So without marketing, without advertising, growth is going to be slow. So let's do a let's do a check-in on your marketing. How is it if you haven't worked with us yet and you've worked with another company, how well are they performing? How well are they actually driving results for you? Love to be able to still have a call with you and we can even do an audit on your current marketing efforts, see exactly what are some holes, what are some gaps, what are they doing, your current team doing or not doing. And if they are doing, a couple of things for you, then our team can come in and we can do things that your current team is not doing. So always there's opportunities for us to be able to work together and see how we can help, infuse growth into your business. We work with other practices, dental practices or our med spas or contractors that were doing other forms of marketing or had an in-house team, but they focus only on social media or they were only doing, magazines or events or whatever the case is. And we came in and, with our other services and solutions, able to work with what they had in-house and be able to work with them, to get them even more growth and get them even more exposure, create more attention, get more awareness for them because now we're hitting on different platforms, with different channels, with different strategies that they currently weren't doing. So they focus on one thing. Then if that's going well, then okay, then we have opportunity to then capture more market share, dominate your local market, help make you omnipresent online. So you become the main player, the main powerhouse in your industry, in your marketplace. So, even if you have a marketing team or in-house team, we can definitely audit them to see exactly are they performing? Are they actually getting the job done for you? So you can still reach out, still schedule a call with us, and that way we can take a look and and see exactly what are some ways that we can integrate our systems and our frameworks and our solutions into your business. So we're at the halfway point, halfway check-in point of the year. Ask yourself, what do you have to eliminate? What do you have to optimize? What do you have to double down on? Because successful businesses, right, they're checking, whether it be monthly basis, quarterly basis, halfway through the year, they're reviewing, they're adjusting, and they're optimizing, because businesses that grow consistently are constantly auditing themselves. They're checking to see, okay, what's working, what's not, what can we put more investment behind, more budget behind? Do we need to increase it? Do we need to, hey, we did an audit for one of our clients, MedSpa clients. Their ad campaigns wasn't performing as well because they were spending too little. So we had them, up the campaign budget. That way, their ads were being shut off, you know, by noon of every day. So hey, look, we gotta put more fuel to the fire because we are getting leads, we are getting results, we are getting, booked appointments on the calendar for you guys. So if we just double down on what we know already is working, because we have the stats, we have the metrics, we have the analytics to show them to back it up. That we're not asking you to spend just for the sake of spending to get more, but no, like we have which campaigns, which services are driving more activity, which services are performing others. What should we focus on? Like, if we're advertising, three or four different services, and we notice that two or three are really high performers, then, let's double down on those one or two key services to get more traffic, more foot traffic, get more people into the spa, into our location. And then from there, then we can offer them the full menu of services that we have to offer. So we got to be always, again, we're always ahead of the game. So we're always trying to see if we need to pivot, if we need to re-strategize, if what's working, what's not working. So we have all the data, analytics, metrics, because we've run hundreds, not thousands of campaigns for our clients. We know what works. So if you're out there trying to figure out yourself still, if you said, no, I'm gonna do marketing, I'm gonna be the one in charge of marketing this year for my business. Okay, where are you at? Now in June, you still haven't, gotten a CRM, you still haven't, build a landing page. You still don't know which is the best platform to use. You don't know what, should I invest into Google or Meta ads? You're just doing too much learning and not enough implementing or execution that you're just holding your growth behind. So rather than you trying to do it yourself, learn marketing and advertising and now learn about AI. And like I spoke with a chiropractor this past week, she said that she had been doing courses on AI. She's been looking into it. And then lo and behold, she's like, no, I'm going to build my own AI agent. But when I shared with her, on how our system works, she's like, why do I have to try to do it myself when I have a solution right here in front of me that basically I don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to take time away from my actual practice of chiropractor, of work and consulting and everything, treatments that she does. I'm gonna get away from my business to try to start a new business, try to start a new solution. Let me just tap into a system that's already working, producing results, and getting the job done. And let me just integrate that into my practice. So that's the things that we do here is, we're trying to shortcut that learning curve for you and just be able to implement the work for you. So we're halfway through the year. So don't wait until December to evaluate your business. I'll do an end of the year review podcast episode. But again, you got to be reviewing your numbers, your stats, your leads, your systems, your marketing, your operations on a monthly basis to see, okay, are we outperforming every month? Are we increasing? Are we getting closer to that target, to that goal that we have? It's always better to make small adjustments now so you can create massive results later. The businesses that hit their targets, they're not lucky, they're not hoping, they're not wishing for it. They're actually actively creating it. Wow, man. Oh my gosh. So they're creating it. They're actually being proactive in it, because they're tracking, they're measuring. And when you're tracking and measuring, then you can optimize and then you can execute consistently. So again, the businesses that hit their targets aren't lucky, they aren't hoping, they aren't wishing. They're tracking, they're measuring, optimizing, and they're executing consistently. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. This is kind of like the mid-year check-in point. I know I covered a lot. I kind of went on different tangents on different things, but the main thing, keep it the main thing is what's the goal? What's the target? How are you tracking it? How are you measuring it? So then that way you have data to use to be able to pivot, adjust, strategize, and really, see for yourself the numbers if you really are on track to hit the goals that you set for yourself. Don't adjust, never lower the target, but you got to increase the actions to hit the target. So never bring down the target because, oh no, we're too behind. We're not doing the right things. Oh my gosh, you're overwhelmed by it, fear, guilt, maybe. No, you just gotta let's re-strategize, let's pivot, let's adjust, and let's increase the actions in order to make sure that we actually hit the goals we set for ourselves. And even if we don't hit the goal, our true goal is going to be better for us to land a little closer to it than if we lower it and actually hit a lower target that we had to readjust for ourselves. It's always better to, as I said, shoot for the moon because at least you'll land among the stars. So never lower your targets, only increase the actions to make sure you hit the target. So again, this is Noel with Marketing Mondays. Exciting episode here about the year midpoint, the mid-year check-in point to see exactly if you're on pace, if you're on schedule, if you're behind on the business goals and targets that you set for yourself this year in 2026. So if you guys feel you're behind, you guys, I know I shared a lot with you. You guys don't know where to get started or what you need to do to really grow your business. Again, I welcome you guys to go ahead and comment below or just send me a DM on Instagram at Soaring High Marketing to be able to get in contact with you. So we can go ahead and schedule a call, do a diagnostic, do an audit, and do a deep dive so we can see exactly where are you on pace for, whether you're ahead, you're the same, or whether you're behind. So let's go out there and let's make it happen. So on to the next episode.